Danielle is a chef and owns a restaurant. The restaurant is closed for now, while she works on a menu that matches her brand. Owen, her friend and investor, comes to taste the new dishes. After trying the food, he says it's good but still missing something special. He reminds her she's talented but needs more inspiration. Then Danielle suddenly notices he is not saying we, but is now saying she. That's when she realizes he's pulling out of the investment. For the sake of their friendship though, she has till the end of the month to give him a reason not to withdraw. Danielle and Sarah, her sister, discuss Italy. Her sister wants her to go to Italy and recharge, but Danielle feels she'd get distracted over there. Sarah eventually wins this argument. Italy has always been an inspiring place for Danielle, so it's worth the risk. Danielle arrives in Ostia Antica, a smile playing on her face as she takes in the scenery. Meanwhile, Giancarlo, an ice cream vendor, holds his breath while a customer tries his new flavor combo. Sadly, the boy prefers his usual strawberry. He goes back into the cafe and complains to his father. Once upon a time, the cafe experimented with flavors. Aldo reminds him that was his mother's specialty. No one should take her place while he's still running the place, but when Giancarlo takes over, he's welcome to do whatever he likes. Danielle stumbles into the cafe, wanting a coffee and directions to her cottage. Thankfully, her audience speaks English because she's terrible at Italian. Giancarlo's father offers her gelato to go with her coffee. Danielle enjoys the flavor, causing Aldo to send a knowing look Giancarlo's way. In his father's absence, Giancarlo gives Danielle one of his inventions, but the taste doesn't sit well with her. This offends Giancarlo even though she was very polite and gentle with her feedback. Danielle senses the hostility and withdraws. She finds the cottage and falls in love with it. Her host, Elida, invites her to play tombola at Poisonto and offers her a local book to read. Feeling jet-lagged, Danielle turns in early but is awakened by church bells later in the night. She starts to read and the MC from the book brings up tombola. Elida is a book whisperer, handing Giancarlo a new read about world traveling and adventure, a topic he resonates with. The game will start soon, and Giancarlo and Aldo make a bet over new flavors. If Giancarlo wins, then he can add a new flavor to the cafe's menu. But if he loses, then he has to stop pestering his dad. Danielle shows up and has to share a table with Giancarlo. The tension dissipates when Giancarlo explains how the game works to Danielle. It's basically bingo, and she wins the round. Elida gives the winner a cake, and Danielle is hoping she can share it with Giancarlo. However, his mood has changed. He bids her goodnight and walks away from the table. While Danielle is brainstorming, Giancarlo meets Aldo at the cafe, lost in a better time. Summer is approaching, and it reminds them of Giancarlo's mother. Giancarlo wants to keep up her legacy. He knows he's not as talented as her in that field, but he has determination, and that has to count for something. Aldo agrees that he'll add a new flavor if Nico, their loyal strawberry customer, likes it. Danielle finds Giancarlo at the cafe in a better mood. She has a to-do list and mentions she's just trying to find inspiration for her new menu. Giancarlo offers her breakfast to start her day. After a moment, he comes with her meal and a cup of gelato he'd like her to try. She teases him but takes a spoon. This time, she's impressed. He incorporated her feedback from the last time, and now the gelato tastes much better. Flavor combination was his mom's idea, and he'd like to keep her idea alive. He struggles with combining ingredients that work, but his biggest challenge is getting Nico to like a new flavor. Danielle is on a work vacation and has no idea how to get around the town. Giancarlo thinks they can make a deal. He'll help her navigate the town, and she'll help him come up with flavors for the summer. Danielle has never made gelato before, as desserts aren't her forte. They start with strawberries to appease Nico. Danielle learns that Giancarlo isn't restricted to specific measurements when cooking. He believes it's all about instincts and intuition. When they're done with strawberry gelatos, Giancarlo plans to keep to his end of the bargain. He checks her journal and infers that they work backward. The plan is to visit the castle first, not last, as history is a good foundation for inspiration. Danielle gets super excited when she sees Giancarlo owns a scooter, and that's what they'll use to get around. They acquaint themselves while exploring the castle. Giancarlo learns that Danielle has one last shot at her restaurant business. She grew up in a harbor town named Hingman, and Giancarlo likens it to Ostia Antica. He's knowledgeable about different places, has a business degree, and thought he'd be using it anywhere else in the world. He came back after college to learn under his father. He'll take over the cafe one day, and has somewhat made his peace with the familiarity of the business and its people. He feels it must work the same for Danielle's diner, but she clarifies that she owns a restaurant that she's barely able to keep afloat. He suggests they make an extra stop, but doesn't say where. She'd just have to trust him. He takes her to a friend's property, instructing her to keep her eyes closed and use her nose for the experience. With each step, she smells and correctly guesses an aroma, even coming up with a possible flavor combination for a gelato. One of the aromas she picks is tarragon, which Danielle loves. Giancarlo suggests using aromas she loves to build her menu and inviting everyone else to enjoy that with her. Danielle told Alida she wouldn't be making much use of the kitchen in the cottage, but things have changed in respect to Giancarlo's mission. She picked up some herbs to work with. Alida knows about her outing with Giancarlo and the mission at hand. She remarks that Giancarlo has taken a special liking to Danielle. The lights trip off just as Danielle switches on the blender. Luckily, Bruno, her driver to Ostia Antica, is also a handyman. Despite the late hour, he shows up to fix the problem. When the power is restored, Danielle notices a different light in Elida's eyes as she looks at Bruno. The two have known each other for years, long enough for a quiet, unspoken crush to linger between them. Nothing has come to Danielle menu-wise, so she takes up her novel to preoccupy her time. She's enjoying the book and even sees herself as the main character. Both are just trying to navigate their way through an enchanting town. The next day, Danielle opens up to Giancarlo about her connection to the novel. She's been reflecting on its moral lesson, taking her time, and figuring out what she truly wants. They're heading to the town market today on bicycles, Danielle leading the way. Danielle has an idea for a flavor that Giancarlo knows Aldo would hate. His father is not an adventurous man and has never been outside Ostia Antica. He picked up English from tourists. Giancarlo picked up English from Hollywood movies. He wanted to attend college in the United States, but things didn't work out. Marta beckons them over to her stall, and her dragon fruits and honey give Danielle yet another idea for a flavor. Giancarlo loves the creativity and is eager to know what else Danielle comes up with. They return to the cafe and get to work on the new flavors. Danielle feels carefree and without pressure for the first time in a long while. She spots Bruno in the other room, fixing something, and she's prompted to ask about his relationship with Elida. Giancarlo confirms Elida and Bruno admire each other, but they've never progressed to more. The cafe has a personal touch, and it makes Danielle value the place. She can't say the same for her restaurant, which she's gradually losing faith in. Their dragon fruit lemon flavored gelato is ready, and Nico appears just in time to taste it. Danielle and Giancarlo hold their breath as Nico digests the flavor. He decides that he still prefers strawberry, and Giancarlo tells Danielle that tomorrow is another day to try again. Danielle made a mouth-watering lasagna. Bruno helped her carry in firewood for the wooden stove, and Danielle uses the opportunity to stall him until Elida arrives. Danielle asks them to help themselves to the lasagna. She claims she ate and has a meeting with Giancarlo, so Elida and Bruno can enjoy each other's company without a third wheel. Danielle's Italian has improved and she owes it to Giancarlo. They're still dedicated to combining the perfect flavors, and Danielle's latest piece is tasty, but they both agree that it's missing something. Danielle admits she's been having fun doing this, and Giancarlo calls for a break. Danielle still has her itinerary. They go olive tasting, and their host Mario confuses them for a couple. Giancarlo is starting to get entranced by Danielle. He invites her to a party that she agrees to attend, and then he teases that they're a couple. They start to pull toward a kiss, but Mario ruins the moment. At least Mario's bottle of olive oil with a hint of hazelnut makes Danielle realize what might be missing from their earlier gelato. Danielle needs a dress for the party, and Elida doesn't miss the chance to point out that she likes Giancarlo. Danielle knows it's true, but her real concern is the long distance between them. Meanwhile, Elida and Bruno have decided to go on an official date. In the solitude of her room, Danielle starts to feel the pressure of her failing restaurant. The hazelnut was the missing piece, pulling the new flavor together. But Giancarlo can't stop worrying, especially about whether Nico and the others will like it. Danielle steps in to calm him, reminding him they've done their part. Now, all they can do is wait and see how it goes. On her way to the tailor, Danielle gets a call from Owen. The deadline has moved from the end of the month to the end of the week, giving her just 2 days to figure things out. Giancarlo tries to get Bruno to try the new flavor he and Danielle named Masolino Song. Nico shocks everyone when he offers to try it since Bruno won't. Nico loves it, and now everyone wants a scoop. Danielle finds a long line for the Masolino Song and a thrilled Giancarlo. He notices she's troubled and he wants to help, but Danielle feels she needs to handle this alone. She retires to her room but still has no inspiration, so she picks up her novel and submerges herself. With Alida's help, Giancarlo finds Danielle. She has just a day to come up with a menu, and she feels hopeless. Giancarlo takes her back to his place and comforts her. Afterwards, They have gelatos in the cafe, and Giancarlo asks Danielle to stay in Italy. She'd love to, but she has a restaurant that's worth fighting for back home. Asking to add another flavor because Masolino song was a success is biting more than you can chew, according to Aldo. Giancarlo is fed up with his father's pace and the confined environment it offers. Lorana walks in and hears about the new flavor. He reveals that Masolino is his real name. He was named after his father, and the book Danielle has been reading was written by his mother. It's about her experience in Ostia Antica. Aldo has seen the connection between Danielle and his son. He knows Giancarlo has always dreamed bigger than Ostia Antica, and he gives Giancarlo his blessings to spread his wings and fly. Danielle had an epiphany. People are what inspires a menu, not the chef or the ingredients. This insight helped her finally come up with something to present to Owen during their online meeting. Danielle goes to the party and throws herself into the fun. Bruno and Elida, now officially a couple, share their plans to renovate the cottage together. Later, Danielle talks to Giancarlo about turning the restaurant into a cafe with a more personal feel. Owen loved the idea. Giancarlo wishes Danielle well, but she's not willing to let him walk away. She kisses him and asks that he come to America with her. They could become partners, and he could bring his mother's legacy there. Giancarlo has always wanted more out of his life. Danielle showed up, and now it's easy to see she's everything he needs.